NBA draft order is officially set, and the Chicago Bulls in particular have now the 7th overall pick officially. So who should they be looking to target with that 7th overall pick? Here to break it down to you guys what is going on. Y'all, Five Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA. I know I haven't mentioned Bulls and talked about Bulls a little bit since a little while on this channel, but that's because, you know, the playoffs have been going on, and of course the Bulls are not in the playoffs because they were too busy tanking, but I guess they couldn't even do that right because they got the 7th overall pick. But with that being said, we'll talk about it, and let's discuss, now that we know where they're going to be drafting, who and which players they could be targeting in this range. Okay, so basically going to talk to you guys and break down a couple of the prospects I'm looking at here, what I expect the Bulls to do. Will they keep the pick? Will they trade it? Could that happen? Talking to you guys about all of that, and then also kind of my thoughts on a very, very early 2018 NBA draft, NBA mock draft, really. But with that being said, there will be an official mock draft coming out soon, a little bit later, obviously, around draft time, but I'm going to wait till the finals are done for that, or I may do it a little bit before. I don't know yet, but with that being said, it is going to be coming, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys stay subscribed on this channel for anything Bulls related, because I'm going to be bringing the Bulls videos like I always do, so make sure you guys are locked in. But with that being said, let's talk about it. We know where they're going to be picking, so who the hell should the Bulls take with the 7th overall pick? So I guess I'll start with the Bulls roster itself. Now, of course, the Bulls actively looked to tank last year. We went through a bunch of changes, traded Nico, Zach LaVine came back. Of course, we drafted Lauri, who turned out to be a stud. Very happy with that. Now, we can assess this roster because they took a clear direction after the Jimmy Butler trade. And we can see who on this roster, and I mentioned this before, is the future, and who on this roster is not the future. Okay, that's basically what you can sort of boil it down to. Is, are you part of this team's core or are you not? And really, there's about, I would say, 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys that are part of this team's core moving forward, and we basically know who it is, right? It's Kris Dunn, it's Zach LaVine, it's Lauri Markkanen, and those are the 3 basically core players. And then the other guy I threw in there is Bobby Portis, and then Denzel Valentine as well. So really 3 for sure, maybe 4, and 5 is stretching it because even though Valentine was a high lottery pick, he hasn't been that great. I know he had some flashes last season. But with that being said, so if you take those guys into account, and I'm expecting the Bulls starting lineup next year to include for sure Kris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and Lauri. That's taking up the point guard, shooting guard, and power forward spot, okay? So that's basically how I see it. Now, could it change a little bit? Yeah, sure. Kris Dunn can sometimes play the 2. LaVine could sometimes play the 3. Maybe Lauri can play the 5. But for now, that is where I see them slotting in. So what does that mean? Why am I bringing that up? Because at where the Bulls are picking, the question is always going to be, do you take the best player available or do you take the best fit, okay? And here is my issue with this, okay? I love taking best player available most of the time. At the position the Bulls are at, and with the players that they've got, these are young players, very young, that have obviously bright futures ahead. You don't want to cap their max by kind of bringing in more competition. I know competition is sometimes good, but at the same time, if you're drafting a player that's already at a position where you have sort of a premium, really, I mean, these are the guys that you want to draft, and these are the guys that you want to build your team around. And so if you do that, sometimes it seems to hinder development, really. I'm not saying you pass up on a generational talent just because you've already got somebody at that position on your team, but you get my point here is if you have 2 guys and, you know, one of them fits a clear need on your position versus the other guy who might overlap with somebody, you might want to go with the first one. So with that being said, let's talk about the prospects. Let's talk about the guys in this draft. So before the Bulls, there's obviously 6 teams. So who's picking? The Suns have the number 1 pick. Kings have the number 2 pick. Hawks have the number 3 pick. Grizzlies have the number 4 pick. The Dallas Mavericks have the number 5 pick. And the Orlando Magic have the number 6 pick. Fun fact, actually not fun fact if you're a Bulls fan. I believe there was a coin flip between the Bulls and the Kings for one of the trades that they did. And the Kings lost that coin flip, but still ended up getting the combination, which ended up being the combination for the second overall pick, okay? So the Bulls won that coin toss and still managed to lose in the draft order, okay? So they could have been picking number 2 overall, okay? Just wanted to throw that out there. Actually, I don't know why I threw that out there. Every time I think about it, it makes me so sad. But with that being said, let's move on. So the Suns, right? Suns, Kings, Hawks, picking 1, 2, 3. So who are the guys I expect to kind of go away right off the bat? DeAndre Ayton is going 1 or 2, okay? At the worst, he's going 2. From what I've been reading and from everything, and again, this is very early, but the fact that it's so early and I'm hearing this should tell you that DeAndre Ayton is pretty much a lock for either the number 1 or the number 2 overall pick, so he will not make it to the Bulls. Then we talk about Luka Doncic, the international player, who's very highly regarded. There's reports now that he might stay with his team in Europe, but I expect him to declare for the draft. I really do, because I don't think he's gonna. I think he realizes how high of a pick he might be. So Sacramento is probably gonna take him. So the 1 and 2 picks really this year are pretty much locks with Ayton and Doncic. So I don't expect that to change, and I don't expect the Bulls to have a chance at those players unless they trade up, okay? So those players are pretty much going to be gone. So who does that leave? Now you've got other guys like Marvin Bagley, you've got Michael Porter Jr., you've got guys like Jaren Jackson, Trae Young, Mohamed Bamba. So at number 7, who could the Bulls target out of all of these guys? I know what you're thinking, and I'm thinking the same thing. I want Michael Porter Jr., okay? This is a guy who was very highly regarded coming out of high school. Actually, before the back injury that he suffered, and it is a pretty serious back injury, and he was not able to play in the college basketball season, his one and only eligible season. This man was projected to be the number 1 overall pick. I mean, he was really that highly regarded, and he still is, but again, it's the medical reports, it's the injury that's kind of had him dropped, but he would have been for sure a top 3 pick and potentially the number 1 overall pick, okay? So the fact that you have a chance to get a number 1 overall pick talent at number 7, you have to jump at it. When you talk about measurables, I mean, they measured MPJ, I believe, 6'10 and a half, folks. So you're talking about the perfect type of player for the modern day NBA. I'm not going to use the words Kevin Durant, but I know that's what you guys keep thinking. Those words did come to my mind, or that player comparison did come to my mind, but I think that's obviously a stretch here. But you get my point, a 6'10", a guy who can handle the ball. I mean, you can guard multiple positions. He would fit really well with this Bulls team. Again, fit and perfect talent as well, because you could slot him in at the 3. Like I said, LaVine at the 2. You could have MPJ at the 3. Again, the back injury is a big deal to me for sure, because I want to see what the reports say, what the medical reports say, because if MPJ ends up having like a Brandon Roy type of career, or God forbid a Derrick Rose type of career where 1 injury, 2 injuries, and basically you only get 4 or 5 years out of him, I'm not so sure about that, and obviously I don't wish that upon him, but back injuries tend to be very serious, and for somebody who's so young already to have back problems, that's a red flag. But again, I am hoping the Bulls do their due diligence on the medical reports of Michael Porter Jr., but if everything checks off and clears off, he makes it to 7, I'm all in. I am all in on Michael Porter Jr., so I would love if the Bulls get him at 7. Could I see teams above stealing him? Yeah. Grizzlies could definitely take him. They need literally everybody. Their roster's awful. Mavericks could take him. I don't see the Magic really taking him. The Hawks could as well. But again, you still have guys like Marvin Bagley. You still have guys like Trae Young. So I think there is a chance that we get our hands on Michael Porter Jr., but I'm not saying that these are really high chances, okay? The player that is more likely or more than likely to end up in a Bulls uniform at that number 7 pick is Mohamed Bamba, okay? Mohamed Bamba, the 7'1" center out of Texas, okay? A lot of people are high on him, and I am too. This man's wingspan, 7 feet 10 inches, folks. Go on KG's Twitter account, not KG, but Area 21 KG, if you guys know what I'm talking about, and he has a pitcher up there with Mohamed Bamba. I swear to you, this man's arms are like Mr. Stretch. They just keep going for days. That wingspan is ridiculous, okay? So he has crazy physical tools. Averaged 13 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3.7 blocks at Texas. So you can see, first of all, the defensive potential for sure with Bamba. But obviously I want to see what type of raw skills he could have on the offensive end, because with the measurables that he has, like I said, 7'1" with a 7'10" wingspan, which is the longest wingspan, by the way, of any player entering the NBA since 2000. Just to throw a comparison in there, Rudy Gobert's wingspan is 7'8.5". Okay, and Rudy Gobert's arms are going on forever. Like, they're that long to me. So Bamba has those physical tools. He's a freak, kind of like the Greek freak in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but obviously a different position here. He does not have the sort of ball handling abilities that Giannis has, but a big with that much raw skill in terms of raw potential, really, I should say, and raw talent. I'm willing to take a chance on Bamba, okay? I don't think this is a Hasheem Thabeet 2.0 or any other players that you might want to point out that ended up being bust. I do see a lot of potential in him. So I definitely would not mind Bamba at number 7. And again, he gives us a clear fit. We could use a big at center. He can sort of, exchange with Lauri because you've got the inside-outside game. But I'm hoping that he also develops some sort of an offensive game. But with that being said, I think it is much more likely that he ends up being there at 7 for the Bulls to take. So I would not mind Mohamed Bamba as well. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 2 players that I would love if the Bulls ended up with either of them, okay? I would love it. Of course, Michael Porter Jr. over Mohamed Bamba, but would not mind either. And of course, we're taking out guys like Ayton, Doncic, even Bagley as well. But again, with that being said, if someone drops, you obviously jump at it. But with that being said, those 2 would be my favorites in that order. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys want the Bulls to take with the number 7 overall pick? Leave your comment down below on who you think the Bulls should take. Make sure to follow me on my my Twitter, and my Instagram. Social media links, both of them down below. Make sure you guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for all Bulls related content. And as always, thanks for watching.